There is something going on beside a hurricane. But in these folks' life, they may have thought it was a hurricane. I'm going to take a few minutes to go over in detail for you Operation Fall Sweep, where in addition to our normal arrest, our specialty teams arrested 310 separate people. We think this is very interesting because we're going to give you some data that backs up what I'm about to say. You know, the system, some of the different legislators have said, you know, we need to have criminal justice reform. Too many people are in prison. Too many people are being arrested. And my statement is, yeah, we need criminal justice reform, all right. We need to hold people more accountable and put people in jail that's stealing your stuff every day. So as that drumbeat started, now legislators and well-meaning normal people have joined in, oh, we need criminal justice reform. Well, when I go over this today, you'll see that we have a very forgiving criminal justice system. I would suggest to you that the reform we need is to make sure these people stay in prison the first time, or the second time, or the third time. Oh, heck, maybe we wait till the 10th or the 15th time to keep them in prison so they won't keep victimizing the good, honest, hardworking people in this community. So with this 5-day operation, only 5 days, we arrest 310 different people for 234 felonies, 395 misdemeanors. And of these people we arrested, they have a total of 2,121 prior arrests. Let me say that again. These folks on this wall have a collective 2,121 prior arrests. 1,730 felony charges, 2,128 misdemeanor charges. Very, very few of them are first-time arrests. 48 of them admitted that they receive taxpayer funds in the way of support, maybe an EBT card. So we, the hardworking people of this community, are working, paying our taxes, and we certainly want to help those that are very young, those are very old, those who have challenges. But these people are healthy enough to steal from us while they also get federal assistance. So we're paying them to steal our stuff. We executed 7 search warrants. 6 of the subjects we arrested had a history of violence toward law enforcement. 42 were arrested on outstanding warrants. 12 of those were for violent crimes or child abuse. We seized 15 guns, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. We arrested, with the assistance of the Lakeland Police Department and the FBI Task Force, 5 members of the Warlock motorcycle gang. It was a city case. These folks lived on the east side of the county, but they beat up and robbed a guy in the city of Lakeland, and we assisted. We executed 2 federal warrants with the Secret Service, and let's go into the details now. I want to start with our organized retail crime blitz, where we arrested people for shoplifting and some we suspect of organized retail crime. We were supported by Walmart, Target, Victoria's Secret, Bells, Sunglass Hut, Home Depot, Lowe's, Marshalls, Macy's, Ross, Old Navy, JCPenney's, and Sears. Now, the reason I want to point out these companies, they worked with us in order that we could stop them from not only stealing from the retailers, but ultimately that comes out of our pocket too, because that shrinkage or loss, as they call it, I call it stealing, those losses come from us when we have to pay more at retail. 9 of the people we arrested had money in their pocket. But I don't have time to go over all of them, but I do want to point out Anise Carter. She is a Florida licensed security guard. She works for Securitas, and she is currently working for Performance Food Service in Dover, Florida. She is a security guard, and we charged her with retail theft, and she was resisting running from us. Guess what she said when we arrested her? Why do you do this? She said, because I'm good at it. Licensed Florida security guard, actively working as a security guard. She steals because she's good at it. Well, we're good at arresting people that steal, and that's why you're in jail. Then we have Britney Mixon, and they go, oh, it's only retail theft, it's minor. Well, she was carrying her .38 caliber firearm with her while she was arrested. But here is our poster child, Nikisha Mann. 56 previous arrests, 31 previous felony charges, 25 misdemeanor charges. She is the one that was arrested the most. This lady has never, ever been to state prison. How much more forgiving of a system do we want than one that allows you to have 56 arrests, 31 felony charges, and you don't go to prison? Yeah, I think the criminal justice system needs to be reformed. I think if she'd gone to prison early on for a stint, maybe she wouldn't have seen this as a profitable way to steal from people. What do you want to reform about that? Do you have to steal 100 times before you go to prison? So when you're talking about criminal justice reform, keep in mind, and I hope you push, the fact that we're already a very forgiving system. I would suggest too forgiving. So when you look at the 20 people involved in this organized retail crime fall sweep, those 20 people alone, 20 adults, not counting the juveniles, the 20 adults have 245 previous arrests. Now that's the kind of folks that we're dealing with. Only 4 of the 20 ever went to state prison. Next, I want to talk about the Warlocks. As I said before, this was a joint investigation. In fact, the Lakeland Police Department did the workup and obtained the warrants for a robbery that occurred in the city of Lakeland at Mudslinger's Bar. They all live on the east side of the county, and we arrested them. I want to point out in particular a few of these folks. When you look at the arrest history, you see that Robert Koff in the center is the poster child of the 5. He has a 60-page criminal history with 47 previous arrests, and 3 times he's been to prison. Think about that a second. This is a criminal justice system that needs reforming? I think it does. I think he should have been in prison, and he wouldn't have been out to beat up and rob a guy in the city of Lakeland. Or the fella on the bottom right, he's 29 years of age. There would be people saying, he's such a nice-looking boy. His name's William Moss. He's on parole out of Tennessee for robbery. You hear what I'm telling you? He was in state prison in Tennessee for robbery, but they let him out early. They let him out just in time that he could come to Florida and beat up and rob someone else. What part of that needs reforming? We need reform. He should have been in Tennessee in state prison for his previous robbery. But if you let him out, you can be sure of one thing: you'll get more of the same. He was sentenced for 10 years, a 10-year stretch in Tennessee for robbery with a firearm. And how does he materialize in Polk County, Florida to do another robbery? Because of parole. I am sick ladies and gentlemen. I am sick and tired of hearing we mass arrest and we just lock people up for minor offenses. Do you see what we're dealing with on the street as law enforcement officers? Multiple arrests. And people, good people in this community, are victimized by these folks. And then, of course, there's Nathan Hale. Nathan Hale, we charged him with 60 counts of possession of child pornography, 2 counts of promotion of child pornography. He's already been in the military, lived at home with mom and dad, but he found time to possess child porn. Now, I'm going to go through a series of arrests here to reconfirm the positions that I've just given to you. So I'm going to do a snapshot. How about Robert Lowe, one of those we arrested? He had 40 previous arrests and was in possession of a firearm at the time of his arrest. Oh, by the way, he has a previous robbery and murder arrest from 1989. We said only half-heartedly, not only did he have brass knuckles when we arrested him, if he didn't have an AARP card, he should have. Listen to me, folks, you criminal justice reformers, you. 40 previous arrests, 1 for murder. He's on the street being arrested again. How about Billy Oakley? Billy Oakley, 41 prior arrests. He's been to state prison once. Or Jonathan Beasley, 36 prior arrests. He's been to prison 3 times. And he's out to commit crime again. How about Delray Lewis? 36 prior arrests, 2 times in state prison. 36 times, only been to state prison twice. How about Dennis Belk? 38 prior arrests, never been to state prison. Do you hear me, criminal justice reformers? He's been arrested 38 times, never been to prison. Yeah, we need reform. The reform we need is to reform to make sure he goes to prison. How about George Sempris? 39 arrests, 4 times in state prison. Still out, alive, and well, and violating the law. I want to camp for just a minute on this fella, Chris Gillard. Chris Gillard, on September the 7th, 2016, sold 6 ounces of methamphetamine to Francis Perry. As Paul Harvey would say, today we're giving you the rest of the story. We were surveilling Francis Perry because we knew he was supposed to be a big-time drug dealer and drug user and criminal. We watched him go to 441 South Elm Road in Lakeland and leave there shortly afterward. When he left, it was from buying 6 ounces of methamphetamine. We followed him to a side street off North Cumbie Road where his vehicle pulled into a driveway. Our detectives and our tactical team, narcotics team, Haida, surrounded his vehicle and he shot at us. And we shot and killed him. But he got his drugs from this guy. In his house, when we served the search warrant, this is what we have. The old Thompson machine gun, only this is semi-automatic. the AK-47s, the marijuana. Let me show you this marijuana. You see this marijuana? This is a non-violent minor drug they want to legalize. Do you hear me? This is the non-violent minor drug that's not dangerous they want to legalize. What's all those guns there? They all came out of the house where the guy's selling the methamphetamine, where he's selling the marijuana, where he has the machine guns, semi-automatic. I'm sick. I'm sick that a few people have successfully convinced a critical mass that we're too tough on criminals, that we're too tough on people, that they can't go to school and they can't get a job. Well, they don't want to go to school and get a job because they're too busy stealing guns, and many of these are stolen, and others we're still working to determine, and we're pretty sure they're stolen too, we just haven't figured it out. They're too busy stealing for their drugs, for their meth, and for their minor drugs here, like marijuana. They're too busy stealing your stuff to want to work or go to school. We have a forgiving system, and we've pointed that out clearly today. We give people opportunities over and over and over, and still, they want to steal. They want to take your stuff. And as a result, our detectives had our fall sweep. This is an interesting group of folks, all ages. Now tell me, what kind of criminal justice reform do we need, do we want? Our crime's at a 44-year low in Polk County, a 45-year low in the state of Florida. These detectives and deputies and police officers are risking their lives across the state of Florida and across the nation to keep us safe. We want some attention on the risks that we take to keep you safe. The guns that we face to keep you safe. The fact that marijuana is not a non-violent, low-level crime. I talked to the second young man in his 20s in the last month who wanted help or were getting help because of their drug addiction to meth and cocaine. I said, what drug did you start with? Marijuana. And now we want to legalize it through medical marijuana, which is the precursor step to full recreational use, or we want to make it a civil citation because it's a minor event. That is not a minor event, and those guns that this guy got because he's dealing drugs are not a minor event. It's all tied together. If you can't tell, I'm worked up a little bit about all this, but what I'm really worked up about is that message is not getting through. We just hear this drumbeat of criminal justice reform, and it starts with the presidential candidates who are up there yapping and saying anything that they can to get a vote. Well, try this. Try keeping the people of this state, this country, safe. Try keeping this world safe, and then leave it up to the rest of the honest, hardworking people that'll take care of the rest of the business. And quit yapping for a few votes about something you don't know anything about. Questions?
What are some of the worst things that they were picked up for?
Everything from misdemeanors to felony drug charges to possession of stolen firearms. It covers the gambit. And these are the people that are out stealing every day if you don't stop them. These people don't want to go to school. They don't want to work. There's jobs available. But they can make more money stealing than they can working and get your federal assistance on top of that. And that's what they do. They're scamming the system. They're scamming us. And at the end of the day, they are in jail. They went to jail. That's where they belong. And I got a word for you. It's real easy to stay out of jail. Behave. Take responsibility for your actions. And know there's going to be accountability in this county if you don't. If you steal people's stuff, if you violate the law, my deputies are going to put you in jail. But there's a way to avoid all of us. Behave. Obey the law. And act like the rest of society that goes to work, raises their kids right, goes to their church or synagogue on the weekend, and you can find them at the ball fields tonight with their children. If you don't want to behave, come down to the county jail and take a look. That's where we collect them up when they don't behave. Anything else? Thank you all very much. I enjoyed being with you today.